Open book, welcome, curious minds and midnight dreamers. You're about to enter a world where stories come alive and every word holds a secret. So grab a cozy seat, maybe a cup of tea, and let me take you on a journey you won't forget. This is story time like you've never heard before. Crescent Moon. 2 years have passed since the world turned upside down. What should have been a straightforward task quickly unraveled into a web of complications. The sun blazed overhead as my son Leo and I stepped onto the warm golden sands of the beach, ready for an adventure that would etch itself into our memories forever. Ethan, my husband, was absent from our gathering, leaving a palpable void in the air. He simply did not. Work consumed my every waking moment, and I had grown comfortable in the embrace of solitude. That day carried an unmistakable weight, a sense of foreboding that lingers in the air, both in the moment it unfolded and in the echoes of memory that follow. As the sun cast its golden glow upon us, we spread out the towels, ready for the day ahead. The heat of that day hung heavy in the air, wrapping around everything like a thick, suffocating blanket. As I settled into a rare moment of tranquility amidst the swirling chaos of the world, I turned to Leo, my voice steady yet laced with anticipation, and asked him to help me apply sunscreen on my back. Never did I envision. Let's delve into it. In my life there exists a child. My child? What lies behind that mystery? At first glance, it appeared he was merely offering assistance. It was only in the aftermath that I realized. I released him from my grasp. What was it that restrained me? Just when you believe you have unraveled the depths of your own soul and the intricate tapestry of your family, a single moment can shatter that illusion, transforming everything you thought you knew. That day at the beach, everything changed for me. Since that moment, everything has changed within me. For over 15 years, I shared my life with Ethan. To those who looked closely, we appeared to be an ideal couple, crafting a cozy sanctuary filled with laughter, raising remarkable children, and building a life that seemed unshakable. Only when you step inside do the true issues reveal themselves. To grasp the essence of being hollow, one must walk that desolate path themselves. For years, Ethan immersed himself completely in his work, shutting out the world around him. Weekends stretched into late nights, and holidays shimmered with untold possibilities. He made the ultimate sacrifice for our sake. I frequently found myself reflecting on how his relentless toil and unwavering commitment were all directed toward forging a brighter future for our family. Yet, that perspective gradually began to blur, losing its once sharp clarity. What is the worth of a house left in silence, its rooms echoing with the whispers of memories long gone? He was lost to me, fading into the shadows. When he stepped through the door, his eyes barely brushed against mine. He ceased to ask about my well-being, my aspirations, and what I truly needed. Our conversation skimmed the surface, touching on bills, meals, and the children, but beneath the mundane, a deeper tension simmered, waiting to erupt. His heart swelled with a profound love for Leo and his precious little sister Lily. He felt like a specter, haunting the space even with their presence surrounding him. It exists in the now, yet remains tantalizingly out of reach. I would sit across from him at the table, my heart racing as I wondered if he still saw me at all. That morning lingers vividly in my mind. Ethan burst through the door just as I was lost in the rhythm of the kitchen. He snatched up his suitcase, pressed a fleeting kiss to Lily's lips, and shot me a quick, loaded glance. "Forgive me, Freya. Today I find myself unable to make it." He revealed that a troubling issue had emerged at work. I remained utterly still, my voice trapped within the confines of my thoughts. I nodded, forcing the lump in my throat back down, just as I had done countless times before. I whispered to myself that all was well, though a storm brewed within. Leo and I will venture out on our own. At 16, Leo towered above his peers, his slender frame a striking silhouette against the backdrop of adolescence. His father's brown eyes glimmered with warmth, framed by a gentler visage that spoke of kindness and depth. As I spoke the words that promised solitude, he fell into a heavy silence. With a casual shrug, he seized the bags and fell into step beside me, our destination, the car looming ahead. He settled into the chair, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. As I settled into the passenger seat, the music enveloped me, a familiar soundtrack to my thoughts. I stared out the window, the world blurring by, each passing scene a fleeting moment, just like any other teen lost in the rhythm of life. As I observed him, a smile crept across my face, igniting a warmth within me. He transformed with such rapidity that I often sensed a fleeting moment, as if a single blink could mean losing him forever. As I navigated the winding road to the beach, my mind drifted to thoughts of Ethan, a familiar presence that lingered like the scent of salt in the air. Memories of our shared moments flooded my mind. Under the glow of flickering screens, movie nights unfolded like cherished rituals, each film a portal to another world. Spontaneous long walks became adventures, where every step whispered secrets of the night, and last-minute trips ignited a thrill of the unknown, promising laughter and memories waiting to be made. I recalled the way his fingers would brush against my skin, the glimmer in his eyes igniting with every glance our way. Years had slipped by since I last experienced that feeling. A numbness has settled deep within me, exhaustion clings to me like a shadow, born from the weight of invisibility that wraps around my existence. As we stepped onto the serene shore, Leo took charge, guiding me as we transported our belongings to a tranquil haven by the shimmering water. As he unfurled the umbrella, I laid out the towels, anticipation crackling in the air. An inexplicable pull urged me to reach out to him. He stood alone, the weight of solitude pressing down on him, as if he were the sole witness to a world unfolding in silence. Maybe all I truly craved was for someone to listen, to truly understand my silent cries. The thrill of being outdoors is simply unmatched, isn't it? I forced a bright tone into my voice as I spoke, masking the turmoil beneath. With a swift motion, he pushed his hair back, his head tilting slightly in a decisive nod. "Yeah, Mom," he replied, his voice laced with a mix of resignation and defiance. "It's pleasant." As I sank onto the towel, the sun's warmth enveloped my skin, a gentle caress that ignited a sense of bliss. I paused, seeking a fleeting escape from the weight of the years that had burdened me, if only for a heartbeat in time. In that moment, the thought of sunscreen flickered to life in my mind. I stirred from my slumber and cast my eyes upon Leo. "Could you assist me in placing this on my back?" I asked, my curiosity piqued. At this moment it eludes my grasp. He hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face, before reaching for the bottle, his hand steadying as he offered it to me. I sank into the warmth of the towel, a wave of anticipation coursing through me as I fought to remain patient. His first touch was a whisper against my skin, tentative and careful, as though he dreaded the slightest hint of discomfort. A soft laugh escaped my lips as I remembered the way he held on. As we approached the bustling street, I grasped his tiny hand, a lifeline in the chaos, guiding us safely across the asphalt expanse. I leaned closer, my voice barely a whisper, urging him, "You can press a bit harder." It was acceptable. With each stroke of the oil on my shoulders and back, his confidence surged, igniting an electric tension in the air. The heat of his hands enveloped me, prompting me to shut my eyes and fully immerse myself in the sensation, relishing every heartbeat of that fleeting moment. It had been ages since I experienced a touch like this, and the realization pierced through me with an intensity one hadn't anticipated. He glided cautiously along the arch of my spine, a breath caught in my throat, and I struggled to find my voice, but silence enveloped me. Even as my mind raced with turmoil, I held my tongue, persuading myself that it was all right, that his intentions were merely those of a helpful hand. In the depths of my being, a whisper echoed, revealing the truth that lay hidden beneath the surface. Once the towel was cast aside, his hands hovered, heavy with doubt. I let him go. Instead, I unleashed words that would haunt me in the shadows of my mind. "Everything will be all right." The statement hung in the air, heavy with foreboding. The moment the words escaped my lips, a chilling realization washed over me. I was utterly alone in this revelation. He held his tongue, but Leo continued to push forward. I clenched my eyes tight, sensing his hands breach the limits. My heart pounded in my chest, and I teetered on the brink of rising to confront him, desperate to make him cease. Yet I refrained. I was unable to do it. I stood frozen, and even now I wrestle with the reason behind it. Perhaps it was the crushing burden of solitude or an urgent craving for recognition, even if just for a moment. Felt utterly wrong. Perhaps I simply ceased to care. On that fateful day at the beach, a part of me broke apart, leaving an emptiness that has lingered ever since. Your unwavering support means the world to me. This is difficult to convey, and your support means the world to me. If this tale captivates you or you believe it could touch someone else's heart, consider giving it a like and subscribing for more. Your support can help spread the magic of this narrative. It ignites a fire within me to unveil more tales, a powerful reminder that I am not solitary in this journey. Now let us press onward into the unknown. From that day forward, everything shifted, particularly the intensity of Leo's gaze upon me. What had transpired was beyond my control, and the weight of my emotions was unyielding. It loomed large and unwavering. As I stared into his eyes, an inexplicable pull enveloped me, leaving me captivated by the mystery that lay within their depths. That night, shadows cloaked the truth, burying it deep as if the world had conspired to erase all that had transpired. I moved through the evening like a ghost, preparing dinner with mechanical precision, probing Leo about his day at school, and folding clothes long into the night, each task blurring into the next. Yet, as I relived that fateful afternoon in my thoughts, a tremor coursed through my hands, relentless and unyielding. His hands brushed against mine, lingering with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. The tension in the air crackled, and it was all because of him. A wave of regret washed over me, a bitter taste lingering as I grappled with the unsettling emotions he had stirred within me regarding my own son. Ethan remained blissfully unaware of the strange happenings around him. He stumbled through the door, the weight of the world etched on his tired face, his tie hanging askew like a forgotten promise. He pressed his lips to my cheek, a fleeting echo of the love that had once thrived there. The day stretched on, each hour dragging like a heavy weight, leaving a sense of exhaustion in its wake. I made an attempt to ignite a conversation. With a low grunt and a curt nod, he turned away, making his way to the living room, a familiar routine etched into his every step. His presence enveloped me in a familiar ache, a haunting reminder of being overlooked once more, as if I were merely an afterthought in a world that moved on without me. As the night deepened, Ethan's rhythmic snoring filled the room, a stark contrast to my restless thoughts as I lay wide awake, my gaze fixed on the ceiling above. The house lay in eerie silence, yet my mind was a tempest of chaos. Leo enveloped my thoughts, his touch igniting a fire within me, his gaze piercing through the depths of my soul, every moment we shared etched into my very being. I understood that I had to bring it to a close before it unraveled completely, yet a shadowy part of me yearned for the caress, the focus, the intoxicating sensation of being seen. Days slipped by and Leo's silence lingered like a heavy fog, each moment thick with unspoken words and unshared thoughts. It conveyed a depth of meaning that resonated profoundly. He closed the gap between them. He lingered nearby, his gaze fixed on me as I prepared meals, tidied up, or sat in solitude under the cloak of night. I allowed the moment to unravel, neither halting him nor myself. The weekend that followed was suffocating. The house radiated heat as if it were engulfed in flames. Once more he vanished into the night, called away for yet another unexpected shift. Once again it was only Leo and me, the air thick with unspoken tension. I inquired whether he was okay with making the journey back to the beach on his own. Perhaps it was a fleeting thought, a whisper of hope that the fresh air would bring clarity, guide me to clarity. I yearned to explore the boundaries of my endurance, to discover just how far I could retreat from the edge. The road stretched ahead, shrouded in an eerie silence. Leo's gaze was fixed on the window, his knee bouncing restlessly as if it held the weight of his unspoken thoughts. Silence enveloped me, a heavy shroud, as I struggled to find the words that eluded my grasp. The beach stretched out before us, a vast expanse of golden sand, nearly deserted as we stepped onto its warm surface. The water shimmered in a vivid blue, while the wind caressed my face with a refreshing embrace. We spread the towels across the ground, and there lay Leo. He guided us through the preparations. This time, I found myself unable to muster the courage to ask him for sunscreen. I shut my eyes and sank into the darkness, feigning that all was well in a world that felt anything but. Yet his gaze lingered, an unyielding presence that sent shivers down my spine. His gaze locked onto mine, unmistakably aware of my presence. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, a palpable shift hung in the air, heralding a moment that would alter the course of events forever. We made our way to the beach showers, eager to wash away the lingering grains of sand that clung to our skin. What was meant to be a swift task took an unexpected turn, plunging me into a mystery I still can't unravel. Leo was the first to plunge beneath the surface, allowing the water to pour over him like a refreshing veil, cascading down his back with an invigorating rush. I maintained my distance, the air thick with unspoken tension. I hesitated, my gaze locked on him, the air thick with anticipation before I finally crossed the threshold. In a moment of reckless abandon, I shed my clothes and slipped into the cool water beside him, the sensation of it gliding over my skin igniting something deep within me. Leo's face contorted, caught in a whirlwind of surprise and uncertainty. He remained shrouded in silence. As our gazes locked for a fleeting moment, I boldly suggested, "You should take off your shorts too. It is essential to rinse thoroughly." Uncertainty hung in the air, a heavy fog of doubt. The words slipped from my lips, unexpected and unbidden, leaving me to wonder what had compelled me to speak them at all. Perhaps I was on a quest to validate my own existence. Amidst the swirling fog of doubt, an undeniable pull tethered me to him. With a moment's hesitation, he finally peeled away his shorts. We stood together, shrouded in the relentless downpour. I turned to him, desperation in my voice, and pleaded, "Help me with my back." He complied, his touch tender against my skin, igniting a spark that sent shivers down my spine. The air crackled with an electric tension between us. A shiver coursed through me as his fingers grazed my waist. The rain's relentless rhythm wrapped around us, a symphony that could have liberated my very soul. The path lay before me, a tempting escape, yet I stood at the crossroads, the weight of my decision heavy in the air. The events that unfolded are difficult to put into words. A tempest of yearning surged within, entwined with solitude and an unfathomable abyss. It struck with ferocity, sudden and unyielding. The atmosphere was charged with intensity, a palpable desperation hung in the air, and everything felt utterly askew. Despite my instincts urging me to retreat, I found myself unable to let go. Reluctance gripped me, a heavy weight in my chest. I found myself standing at the crossroads of choice, the path ahead shrouded in uncertainty. The thought of moving forward sent a shiver down my spine, yet I knew deep down that I had no other option. I didn't want to. As the final moments faded away, we remained frozen, enveloped in the embrace of the water. The relentless rain cascaded down, obscuring all in its path, yet it could not erase the undeniable truth lurking beneath the surface. He wrapped his arms around me, a fierce grip that felt like a long-lost warmth I hadn't known in years. I surrendered to him. In the aftermath, a heavy silence enveloped us. As we trudged back to the car, the remnants of the rain clung to us, a reminder of the storm we had just weathered. We shook off the droplets, packed our belongings with a sense of finality, and drove away, leaving the tumult behind us. From the shadows of my vision, Leo emerged, a figure cloaked in mystery. His lips glistened with a deep crimson hue, while his movements were rigid and unyielding. It dawned on me that I had unraveled it all. A chilling realization gripped me. We had ventured beyond a threshold that could never be undone. For the first time in years, a spark ignited within me, awakening a sense of vitality I thought I had lost forever. The car ride home unfolded in a heavy silence, thick with unspoken words and lingering tension. The air hung thick and oppressive, a weight that bore down on us with an unsettling intensity. My gaze was fixed on the winding road ahead, fingers clenched tightly around the wheel, yet my mind raced with a torrent of thoughts. The air was thick with his essence, a palpable reminder of the moment that had just unfolded, his shadow clinging to me like a haunting echo. My gaze was locked onto him in the passenger seat, unable to break free. He remained still, eyes fixed on the window, his flushed face and clenched lips betraying a simmering frustration within. Then, unexpectedly, he spoke, his voice a mere whisper, barely breaking the silence that enveloped them. I turned my gaze away from him, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air between us. Despite my hesitation, his voice pierced through the silence, resonating with an undeniable clarity. What is unfolding before us? What transpired in that moment? My heart pounds in my chest. I toyed with the idea of feigning ignorance, of deftly steering the conversation away, or simply letting his words fade into silence. But deep down, I knew that evading the truth would only deepen the shadows lurking in the corners of my mind. Not after everything we've been through. With a tremor in my voice, I confessed, "I don't know." It was the truth, or at least the closest I could grasp in that moment. Confusion enveloped me as I grappled with the events that had unfolded, and the reasons behind them. A profound shift had taken place, and I could feel it in my bones. The silence hung heavy in the air as we pulled into the driveway, an unspoken tension wrapping around us like a thick fog. As I came to a stop, the engine's roar faded into an eerie silence, leaving us frozen in place, suspended in the moment. Leo's gaze pierced through me, filled with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. His gaze held an unsettling intensity, as if it pierced through the very fabric of reality. It was a feeling that lingered in the shadows, elusive and haunting, a presence that twisted the air around it. It was an insatiable longing. For how long have these feelings consumed you? His question pierced the air, sending a shiver racing down my spine. The thought had been echoing in my mind, a relentless whisper that refused to fade away. As I locked eyes with him, a fire surged to life inside me. Doubt clouds my mind, my voice barely escaped my lips, a mere breath in the silence. Perhaps my words lingered longer than I had planned. We hovered in the shadows, the darkness wrapping around us like a thick, suffocating blanket. The atmosphere crackles with the weight of unvoiced thoughts, each breath a silent testament to the tension that lingers in the shadows. It seemed that was the final revelation. We devised a plan to step inside, to release our burdens, and to act as if it had all been a mere figment of our imagination. Yet Leo harbored a secret agenda of his own. He crept forward, each step deliberate, as though he sensed the slightest hesitation in me could send him spiraling back into the shadows. Yet I refrained from taking that path. I surrendered to the moment, letting him draw closer, and he met my invitation with a kiss that ignited a spark between us. In that moment, everything unraveled. It was either the crushing weight of years spent in solitude or the intensity of Leo's gaze, a look that pierced through the darkness like no other, a seemingly endless stretch of time. I surrendered completely, whatever it was that beckoned me. He captivated me just outside our home, his hands moving over me with an ease that felt destined, as if they were always meant to find their place there. After what felt like an eternity, a surge of vitality coursed through me, awakening every sense and igniting a fire within. Crucial. In plain sight, nothing else held any significance. Time lost all meaning as we found ourselves ensnared in that confined space, but eventually, we made the decision to step inside. The path to the door is a blur in my memory, a haze of confusion and urgency that obscures the moments leading up to it. The heat of his palm against mine ignited a tension in the air, wrapping us in an electrifying silence that felt almost tangible. As they stepped inside, the atmosphere shifted ominously. It felt as if we had been suspended in time. After an eternity of restraint, the moment has arrived for us to unleash what we've kept buried within. With a deafening roar, the dam shattered, unleashing a torrent of water that surged forth like a wild beast escaping its cage. The days that followed hung heavy with clouds, a shroud of gray that seemed to weigh down the world. Leo lingered close, his presence electric, always seeking the briefest contact or a moment where our eyes could lock when the world faded away around us. I clung to the hope of escaping this relentless cycle. Yet each time my eyes fell upon him, I felt the haunting echo of the same void that resided deep within me. We were like mirrors, each echoing the other's longing, and I found myself unable to resist. Reluctance gripped me, a heavy weight in my chest. I truly didn't want to. As I lay in bed next to Ethan, my eyes fixated on the ceiling, I became enveloped in the soothing cadence of his breath, each rise and fall a gentle reminder of his presence in the stillness of the night. My mind was consumed by thoughts of Leo. His touch resurrected my very soul. My guilt slithered through my veins like a serpent, yet it couldn't restrain my resolve. In that moment, the weight of my decision crashed down upon me, and I knew I could no longer bear the burden of my choice. The allure was too strong to ignore. Our situation spiraled into chaos, teetering on the brink until it suddenly ground to a halt. One night, I washed dishes at the kitchen sink to distract myself while Ethan worked late and Lily slept peacefully. Leo loomed just behind me, a presence that sent a shiver down my spine. He stared intently, his gaze pierced through me, reminiscent of that moment at the beach when I had turned around, catching him off guard. Text, I warned Leo softly, tread carefully. Yet he stood his ground. He drew near, his breath brushing against my skin, sending shivers down my spine. Mom, she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. I think about you all the time. A chill swept over me. My heart pounded violently, as if it were on the verge of exploding. I urged him to pause, retreat to his room, and grant me the solitude I desperately needed. Regret washed over me as the words slipped from my lips, a reckless confession that I couldn't take back. I find myself unable to break free as well. In that moment, the world shattered around us. Leo pressed his lips against mine once more. This moment is fraught with greater challenges. Urgently needed. I pressed my lips against his. A silent promise exchanged in that fleeting moment. I felt no weight on my conscience about the wrongness of it all. In the shadows of my memories, Ethan and Lily faded away, along with the fragile world we had crafted together. Everything revolved around Leo, my boy. They were the first in years to ignite a sense of worth within me. Everything shifted the moment we stepped onto the sand that day. I find it hard to believe that it will ever come to pass. Yet, that will not deter me. That is the source of my deepest fear. Take a moment to explore this. Unseen by them, the fractures in our family grow deeper. Perhaps they are ensnared in the intricate web of their own existence. Or perhaps I've simply mastered the art of hiding it away, shrouded in shadows. I come to understand that this moment is fleeting. Secrets possess an uncanny ability to emerge from the shadows. When the moment arrives, everything will unravel. I made my move to bring it all to a close. I told myself it was a mistake, a betrayal of everything I believed in. Leo and I are destined for something greater. With every brush of his fingers against my skin and every gaze that makes me feel like I'm the center of his universe, I find myself slipping away, consumed by the intensity of the moment. For the first time in years, a surge of vitality courses through my veins. Perhaps even forever, all because of him. I must face that truth head-on. A sense of despair washed over me as I stared at the broken object, uncertainty gnawing at my mind. How could I possibly mend what was shattered before me? Doubt gnaws at me, casting shadows over my confidence in achieving this task. This is the reason I must unveil this tale. I long for someone to grasp the truth, a revelation I have yet to contemplate. Desperation clawed at me as I realized the urgency of my predicament. I had to find a way out before the shadows closed in for good. I eagerly await your response, hoping you can lend a hand or connect me with someone who has faced a similar journey. This must stand as an unmistakable warning. Solitude can guide you to uncharted territories. Seize the moment and forge your own path, just as I did in my journey. Seize the moment before chaos descends. Understand the landscape before it shatters. Once you step over that threshold, the path behind you vanishes, leaving only the unknown ahead. Your attention is greatly appreciated. Weave your thoughts into the tapestry of this moment. Give this video a resounding thumbs up if it struck a chord within you, and join the journey for more captivating content ahead.